Hi, how's it going? I'm Marlena and thanks for wandering by. So welcome to my month end, my monthly wrap up. I've been trying different things with this particular video. I like doing them and I know you like, well, I've gotten feedback that you like these types of videos. And so I want to bring them to you. I like to review my month in tarot and oracle practice. And recently, look at me with my pen, I'm such a teacher. Recently I've been kind of sprinkling in like some other things that I've been getting up to. So like books that I've been reading, works that I've been doing in my own writing, and just other random things, miscellaneous things that I've been, playing with, watching and stuff like that to share with you as well. And so I haven't really kind of figured out the structure. I'm very I like to have a structure to my videos, if you haven't noticed. I do ramble though, which is what I'm doing right now. But anyway, I haven't figured out how I want to present it to you in a cohesive way that makes sense. If you like it, the rambly, if you like, all the other bits and pieces, if you want to just fast forward, because the last thing that I'll be talking about will be the tarot and oracle decks that I worked with this month. So if you're happy to just watch that, you can fast forward to the end. But I wanted to come face forward to talk to you about the random miscellaneous things. And then when I get to it, I'll flip the camera and we'll take a look at the tarot and oracle decks, especially because I did pair them this month, so then you can see. So I feel like this month, February 2023, so this is the journal that I've been using. I use for January and February, and I have some room still, so I'll likely be using this journal in March. I kind of like the big, I don't know, what do you call this, Ace, I don't know how big they are. I don't know, the A6, A5, B6, whatever. You guys know, you journal folks. So I do, my best at decorating, and obviously February with Valentine's Day, I did a bunch of little hearts, and I've been playing with faux calligraphy. So I've been doing that kind of fun thing. And so over here, is my title page. And then here we have the practices and study and things that I got up to. So let's first talk about the cards of the month, because I pulled that out to show you. So I did and have done the past 2 years, a year ahead reading. God, my hair is wild. My hair is usually in this crazy wackadoo bun sort of situation. That's how I live my life. I do it nice and down and pretty on camera for you sometimes. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, my year ahead. So I did it last year and it seemed to really work for me when I revisited those cards. This year I did it, and I'm gonna keep referring to it just because I kind of want to see how it pans out for the year. But I use way more intense cards for my year ahead spread. I use the Thoth and I use the Tantric Dakini Oracle for my year ahead reading. So this month, the cards, and I didn't do this when I showed you last month, so I thought I would do this month. The two cards for my month of February is the Knight of Wands and Solar Return. So super kind of fiery with the light or the fire being kind of overshadowed right here with this eclipse. So I went and I believe I looked at it when I first did this reading way back at the beginning of the year. Way back, well, it does feel like it has been. But the Tantric Dakini Oracle, I know I've shown it off here before. It's super fun. I freaking love this deck. It's this strange collage, really out there, funny, but also kind of deep, and just so strange that it makes you think and go your mind go to places that like it might not have, just because it's very bizarre imagery. But it's also, this is also connected to the tarot. But I'm just gonna like look at just a couple of things that stood out to me from the guidebook. Is that in the divinatory meaning of this solar return card is, this card relates to the darkening of the light hexagram of the I Ching, which I think is really interesting because that's what I've been working on an I Ching study the last 58 days. In any case, so this card relates to the darkening of the light hexagram of the I Ching, but presents a time when one may be forced to confront the inner structure of the psyche. The relationship of the individual to the collective unconscious is to be considered. The overcoming of obstacles through recognition of self-nature. The calculation of exterior influences to compute one's evolutionary direction. So that really stood out to me today when I was looking at it again, because in reviewing and taking a look at my month, some of the other practices that I got up to and was involved with was tapping into self a lot. Self-nature, self-esteem, self-worth. I didn't bring it out, but I showed it last month, and I'm going to be working with Lisa Pepez, my friend Lisa's book, The Self-Worth Path, along with other folks in Lisa's membership throughout the rest of this year. So I won't bring the book out every single time, but I just wanted to mention it because the chapter that we worked on in the Self-Worth Path this time for this month had to do with body acceptance. So like kind of like a return to self, like a reviewing of self, like I don't know, it's interesting, like a darkening of the light. It all kind of weaves together and makes sense for me for how I approached my practices this month, and also just like my day-to-day life and things that I had going on, just kind of like taking a look at the way that I talk to myself and how I really truly feel about my own self-worth. And I don't know that that's something that I've spent a lot of time, thinking about in the last, few years or so, because I haven't had time. I haven't made the time to like really, be conscious of my own thoughts about myself, because I've just been busy working, that kind of thing. The other practice, so let's see. That was the cards of the month. And then I like wrote down the other, practices that I was working in. So I mentioned the self-worth path, the body acceptance, and then this ties together too. I think all of these cards tie together with another practice that I was working in. And I mentioned it in another video, is the animal gnosis. So I also am in Cosmic Creepers Patreon. That's Tegan here on TarotTube, and she has a wonderful practice with the animal gnosis, and this month was Toad. And so I did a separate reading for Toad. I also followed along with a lot of the information she provided about Toad. Here Toad appears in the Animal Wise Tarot, and he or she is the Seven of Wands, and the keywords are inner strength and resources. I feel like these just line up really nicely for an opportunity I felt like I had to examine, my own hangups with self-worth in terms of like, this kind of took it in a place where it's like about appearance, which tied in again with like the body acceptance stuff that I was working on and thinking about with the self-worth path and Lisa's membership practice. And so it just, stuff that hangups that I've had, insecurities and things that I've been dealing with since, childhood, adolescence. It just all kind of, it all kind of came together, wove together, and really made me like embrace the darkness or the ugliness, or what's seen as the darkness and what's seen as ugly, what's seen as, Toad. There was just a lot to do with Toad in terms of like, I found a poem called, what is it called? Oh, it's called Toad by Diane Seuss, and I'll leave a link to it below as well. That just was amazing. It was about cycles of life and death, and it was about, I mean, there's like feminist stuff in there, I think, too, with like some examining of the narrator's way that she related to men in her life, like family members, father, grandfather, and that kind of thing. But there was also that, the whole like fairy tale about Toad or Frog, but Toad being a, kiss the prince, right? And that's just like a whole thing. But anyway, I hope I'm making sense, because I'm just sort of like kind of giving an overview, but these are just things that like I thought about throughout the month with these particular practices. So let's talk about poetry. I picked up from the library Arias by Sharon Olds. And it's a collection of a bunch of her poetry across, I think, many years. And I've been a Sharon Olds fan in the past, and I hadn't read her in a while. And so I was really excited to get into this book. So good. I've been dipping in and out of it all month. But I have to take it just a little bit at a time, because these poems are really intense. Sharon Olds has a confessional poet style that is really, like, she doesn't fuck around. Like, these are deep, intense, feelings. These are deep, intense, subject matters, so she talks about abuse, physical abuse from her mother, when she was growing up. And there's a poem that I really sank into and read several times again. But the other one that stood out to me so much, that felt like it was part of this journey with Toad this month, is a poem that's called No Makeup. And I could read, maybe I'll just read the beginning. No makeup. Maybe one reason I do not wear makeup is to scare people. If they're close enough, they can see something is different with me. Something unnerving, as if I have no features. I am embryonic, pre-eyebrows, pre-eyelids, pre-mouth. And anyway, it goes on and on. So like, if that's enough to get you like kind of interested in reading this whole thing, this felt like the poem that I have wanted to write or had in my head. And I'm like, damn it, Sharon Olds, you wrote the poem. Because I've had in my head this poem about beauty and skin and like things to do with like your mother and, how you see yourself and things like that. Anyway, I won't get into that part too much, but I really enjoyed dipping in and out of Arias by Sharon Olds, picked up at the library. And I wrote 2 poems myself this month, which is really an anomaly for me. I've mentioned here before that I'm a poet, but I'm not prolific. Like, I really don't usually write this much, but I have been talking to a few other friends who are also writing, and it just sort of like made, like just got me inspired, made me kind of be more in tune with like giving myself the time to sit down and write. So I spent a week and a half or so with a poem in my mind and like, or an idea for a poem in my mind. And usually I just let it stay here rather than like make notes and brainstorm and write things down. I don't give myself that time to do that, but I did this month, and I'm really glad that I did, because normally I just let things percolate and then they kind of fade away. But this month I actually like made notes, started, you know, brainstorming, had ideas and things on paper in my journal to work with. And then finally, I think because of all of that, like germinating and letting it, you know, the poem came out. And so I wrote, and then I wrote a random poem when I was thinking about this other one. Like I was supposed to be focusing on this tree poem, and then this other one came out. And so now I have two, and I'm not going to read them to you here right now, but I'll figure out some way to share it with you. So one of the poems is called The Singularity, and the other poem is called What Does the Tree Remember? Oh, let me talk about the other books that I've been reading. This is book 2 in, you can call it the Xenogenesis trilogy or Lilith's Brood. The trilogy has 2 names, by Octavia Butler, and this one is called Adulthood Rights. So just really quickly, I've been obsessed with this series since I started it. I even made a video where I used a tarot deck, and I was doing readings alongside, which I did again with this book 2. And I have to say, at first, so book 1 is told from the perspective of Lilith. And then when it's about, well, let me just read the premise to you. On the back it says, after nuclear war destroys nearly all humankind, an alien race called the Oankali intervenes, saving a small group of survivors from certain death, but salvation comes at a cost. So in the first book, it's all about Lilith, and she's a human who wakes up on this alien ship, but she doesn't really know where she is. Anyway, the whole book is spent with Lilith, and so the story is told from her perspective. And then in book 2, it shifts to a different character. And I didn't like that shift right away. Like I was like, Lilith, I miss Lilith and I want to be with Lilith. But by the end, I really, really fell in love with the main character, whose name in this book is Akin. And I don't want to give away anything about the story, but thematically, another like really wonderful kind of tie-in to my themes, right? My toad, my self-worth, self-acceptance, feeling different and feeling other is a very large theme in this trilogy. And also, I mean, like just defining, you know, what is of value to you, and what holds meaning. And like, that's always a theme rampant throughout everything, that I love to read, and what I love to think about. But anyway, so I highly, highly, highly recommend this series, Octavia book 3, and I'm going to be reading that now, upcoming in March. And then lastly, so I finished that one, but this book, this is the nonfiction book that I've been reading, and it's slow going. So I'm really not that far into it, like 60 pages. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But it's amazing. So this is Chuck Klosterman, the 90s. I was listening to a podcast, and that's what got me onto this book. And it's like all the nostalgia, but all the like critical thinking kind of stuff about the 90s. And if you're, you know, I'm middle-aged, right? So I'm 43. So this is like my coming of age time, was the 90s. And just I just needed to like stop and think every few lines, because everything was so spot on, talking about the music, Nirvana, movies like Reality Bites, like the whole thing about being Gen X and like selling out, like that the concept of selling out. It's just it I know I've thought of these things before, but like now at the age that I am, like thinking back about how these, like specifically, I mean, very American, I think, because a lot of the pop culture stuff in here is specifically American, how that shaped like who I am today, and like why I have like the things that I have, about like what it means to sell out, like what art really is, grunge, and like, just like honestly straight up like nihilism from the 90s, that kind of philosophy, and like how that, I'm laughing about nihilism, isn't that's something? And how that just was like pervasive in my, like the way that it just shaped like who I became as an adult, and like how Gen Xers are, and like those of you that are millennials will think this is funny, and then those of you that are older, generational names are really interesting to me and funny. Some people can, they prescribe to them or ascribe to them or whatever, and some don't. I just love thinking about all this kind of stuff. So this book is amazing. I'm still like very slowly going through it because I need time to think about it. And I think if you are of the 90s at all in any way, this is an amazing book to read. If you caught my unboxing, I got myself a beautiful glass dip pen, because I've been on this kick of wanting of pens. It started with just regular pens, and then I fell down a rabbit hole about fountain pens, and then I decided I wanted to try out a glass dip pen, and make it something special for my writing. And I did, and I just love it, and I've been playing with it, and you'll see more because I have plans now for this month to start doing some like, I don't know, artsy things, like kind of using it for like watercolor kind of painting, drawing things. We'll see. I'm just playing, and I'm really enjoying this like lovely little cozy hobby. It's been very soothing and really nice. So YouTube things, and I'll leave some space over here. Let me move over so that I can put that up. Number one of the best memories for YouTube this month was the deck crush tag. My buddies and I, Lisa Pepez, Don Michelle, and Danny Mystic, joined me on a tag for the month of February called #DeckCrush, and it was all about the decks that we have a thing for, and it was just super fun to talk about my relationship with my decks and to think of them in that way. And it was so fun to watch all of the VRs that we got. Still going through them, I still haven't been able to watch them all because there were so many, and it was so fun. And I loved how excited everyone got about it. And I just think it's like really nice to connect with other folks who are connecting with their decks in this way. It is for fun, but it's also like truly serious for me how much I love this tool in my life, and I love sharing that with you guys. And the other YouTube thing that I got like just recently obsessed with this last week of February, and I'm so late to the party on this one because this show on YouTube has been around forever, and I just didn't know about it. And I don't know I honestly don't know how I randomly stumbled upon this one, but it's called Hot Ones. Okay, so all of you that have seen this and have been watching this are probably like, oh, I know, I've seen that show. Premise of the show is basically this guy, Sean, oh, I can't remember his last name, Sean something. He interviews celebrities, and while he's interviewing them, they have to eat 10 hot wings that like progressively get more hot. And it is just fun. Like, the cool thing about him is that he's like become famous for having like really good interview questions that these celebrities don't typically get asked. And he also has like deep dive research into the celebrities. So he's asking them things that are like really, really deep investigative kind of research that's like random, that they don't expect. And it's just hilarious. I highly recommend Hot Ones. Watch the Gordon Ramsay one, watch the Paul Rudd one, and watch the Anna Kendrick. Those are just really, really great. So that's like my little pop culture thing, Hot Ones. And then, so to take completely different type of turn to talk to you about a show that I watched that I'm also like, guys, I guess I don't know what's going on in the world. I come to things later, but another thing that I happened to watch because a friend of mine recommended is the series from HBO. It's on HBO Max called The Leftovers. And I don't know, I know I had heard about this show when it first dropped or came out, and I dismissed it because it had gotten bad reviews or something, and I thought it was another one of those really super Christian, like Rapture type shows that the premise is that one day 2% of the population just poof disappears, and the show follows, oh my God, the show follows a particular set of characters who, after the fact, the leftovers. And it's from the creator of Lost. And I was a big fan of Lost. And so many of you have probably already seen this. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone because I feel like, just like with Lost, like the whole point of the show is like the journey, not the destination. Although getting an answer is really important, I think, too, for this particular premise, what happened, where did they go? And it's philosophical. It's my first, like, the experience that I had watching it from almost there's 3 seasons, and there's only 10 episodes per season, so it's like a good short binge. The experience that I had watching it almost through the 3rd season, almost to the end, was quite visceral. Like, I just was having full body responses to things, like emotional. It was crazy, like surreal. Honestly, you're questioning what is real, what is happening, is this real, like what are they doing? You hate people, you love people, blew my mind, and I didn't expect it. I really didn't. It was very intense too. So if you're not ready to deal with a very intense show, like, you might need something else. But anyway, it was just, it was stunning. The philosophies presented, and then, but I reached a certain point. Oh, there's a certain point, a thing that happens that makes you literally gasp aloud. My friend told me that this was gonna happen, and it did. Also laughed a little bit with it, but anyway, so that's, you can be the judge for yourself, where that'll happen in the series for you, because there's a lot of really gasping kind of moments, but there's one really big one. And then I hit a point where I got it. like I understood, or I felt like I understood what they were doing, what the whole story arc was for, why it was happening in this way, the particular characters' journeys. And once I hit that point, and it happened in season 3, then I could watch and think instead of just like have like a bodily like emotional response to everything. I could think about it. I started being able to think about, you know, the philosophy, the larger, you know, I could think about it critically. I could think about it as a human. I could, you know, I could, I could philosophize myself about it. And it was a beautiful ride, this 3 season show. Brilliantly done. Can't recommend it more highly. The Leftovers. Okay, I think I have talked at you with my face enough so that I can now flip this camera around and talk to you about the tarot and oracle decks that I worked with in the month of February. So yeah, I will do that right now. Now we're here taking a look at the decks that I worked with for the month of February 2023. And these are the decks mainly in my most, you know, focused practice throughout the month, which is the monthly medicine that Dawn Michelle does on her channel, her membership. So I'm just going to show you, let's see, 4 pairs of tarot and oracle decks that I worked with throughout this month. And first up, I used the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum Infinity Edition. You can see my camera there, or my phone camera, because it is all mirrored. And then the Poesis Oracle. These both are indie decks, and so I'll leave links where you can find things down below as usual. So let's just put these next to each other so you can see how they look side by side, because that's how I use them. I love, so Tarot of the Holy Spectrum Infinity is newer to me, but I have the original, and that is my ride or die. You know, in my deck crush, that was the deck that is the, that's my true love deck. And if I had to pick an oracle, this one, the Poesis Oracle, might be my ride or die oracle, because it is, I don't know, it is so versatile, this deck. See how lovely they look together, but I just love its cream and black white colored imagery, or, you know, palette, I should say. It's so, you know, it's like Reclaim in its minimalism, but it's not as mean or harsh, I should say, as the Reclaim. So yeah, these decks together really spoke. I've used this one quite a bit with quite a few decks. I've used it also in with creative writing stuff. It's just like very, very versatile. Look at how cool that is together. So yeah, I'm just gonna flip through so you can see some more beautiful cards. Seek. That's really cool. Sorry that things are half upside down here. I should have flipped them over. Oh my gosh, look at that. The Empress with Nurture. The coloring in the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum Infinity, it gives it a completely different vibe than the original. So it definitely has a different energy. But it's still like one of my favorites. And I'm glad that I got this edition. I think I prefer, at this point, the original to the Infinity. But, oh, look at that. I love that. That's great. That's a great pair there too. But I definitely will be using this one again. I do like how vibrant it is, and it's got this like soft quality. to it as well. And because there was the themes that we had going on with the monthly medicine were about the cosmos. It was really interesting. Like, I started out kind of out there with cosmos and then really kind of got grounded, which is rare for me, but that's what happened. So yeah, so that is the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum Infinity and the Poesis Oracle. So actually the next two, the Oracle and Tarot, that I had originally meant to pair together, I think I paired them maybe one time, but then I'd use them separately after that. They do look lovely together, they do work lovely together, but I think for what I ended up doing was I fell in love with this oracle. This is the Oracle of Oddities, and I've shown it to you. I've shown it to you before in that same video where I was talking about things that weren't working for me with things that are. And this is the Mega Oracle deck of my dreams. And as soon as I got it in, it's an indie deck. I don't know that Claire Goodchild, the creator, is going to be printing this again. I think you can still find some copies at, not on her website, but at other third-party places, which I'll leave a link below. I think you might still be able to get it. But the moment that I got, look at that self. Oh my God, so perfect for this month. The moment that I saw this, I knew right away that this is perfect for my work that I'm doing. It is morbid and beautiful. The themes that come across with these particular words, and the way that the image makes you consider the word. So like we have here revelation, and then we have an open skull, cracked open, half skull, just the eyes, because you don't have the jawbone there, with these two intertwined spines, and then two skulls, and I mean, I'm telling you what you're seeing, right? And a bat at the top, and the word is revelation. Yeah, I can spend so much time thinking about all of these particular things as symbol, metaphor, what the bat means, what your spinal column is, the idea of having the spine growing out of the brain rather than down from the brain, how bats, are, I mean, just so much. Like I'm already trying to like dig into it. And that's the thing with this, the Oracle of Oddities. I've fallen in love so much with this, and I'm stuttering because I'm so excited. I've used it by itself, which is something that I don't really do. And I started doing with this and another Oracle, this month. I've just kind of been like, Oracle, like into Oracle, which I can tell you guys, I did not think that would happen. So yeah, this deck, gorgeous, amazing Oracle of Oddities. Okay, and so the tarot deck that I had set out to pair with the Oracle of Oddities is the William Blake Tarot, and I used this deck for monthly medicine, but I used it for other things this month as well, and it really turned out to be wonderful. It fits the bill in terms of what it is designed for. So the William Blake Tarot of Creative Imagination, it is designed for, and I'll show you really quick in the guidebook, it is designed for creativity. So each of the card descriptions here in the guidebook has the like divinatory kind of meaning and message. And then it has this little bit in the creative process. And because I've been I allowed myself to get focused on my own work, my own writing, my own poetry, this deck really stood out to me this month and helped me. It worked for me. It worked for me in terms of my monthly medicine work and tarot reading work, but it also really fit in and helped me with my creativity. It is a stunning deck. Did I show you the backs? This is mass market and readily available, so it's out there for you to get. The suits are renamed, so we have poetry for the earth suit, the pentacles. We have science for the air suit, the swords. We have painting for the water suit, for cups. And all the majors have also, most of them have been renamed. I'm not I never was like a huge William Blake fan. I know the famous poem that everybody knows, Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright, that one, but I did more research on him because of this deck, and I really enjoyed it, finding out more about his life and paintings. And there's paintings and writings and things like that. There's some Christian stuff going on in there, but anyway, regardless, this is a super beautiful deck. And then this is the wands or fire suit is renamed to music. And yeah, I didn't work with it extensively. I think I worked with the Oracle of Oddities more than I did with this deck. It's one of those where I can't pull too many cards. Look at, because there's so much going on here. There's, quotes, there's the creative process thing. There's also, I didn't really use it in as a traditional tarot. I kind of layered all those things together, what I know, but I kind of threw my tarot meanings out the window sometimes as well, and just kind of read it like an oracle and took the cards as they came forward. I used this deck for readings for a friend, and that was really great. So yeah, I will very much continue to use the William Blake Tarot. I have a feeling it's going to continue to be a staple for creativity and for the creative process and that type of work in my life and in my practice. So really, really love the William Blake Tarot. So I also have for you, or used this month, and I'm showing you an unlikely kind of combo. I don't know what inspired me to put these two together. This wasn't I try to plan my decks out, and then it just things always inevitably always end up changing because I'm fickle. I'm a fickle Gemini. So things end up changing throughout the month. So I randomly thought to use these two together. And the Tarot of the Abyss is a deck that I've had for some time. And it's been I've been off and on and back and forth about this deck. But now I'm so on with it. I really, really loved using it. I used it for readings with a friend, and readings for myself with the Earth Magic Oracle cards. So good. This Earth Magic Oracle, by the way, is amazing. It's now risen to the top, with the Oracle of Oddities. It's risen to the top of my Oracle deck loves. It's just, yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the poesis. Let me try to make this a little bit more. All right, so we have an unlikely pairing, but beautiful. I mean, really ends up being extremely beautiful, these two decks together. I don't know what it is about it. It just, Yeah. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, this deck, this Oracle deck, it's different, and I'm going to eventually, I have plans to make a video about like the anatomy of an Oracle deck so that we can talk about what works for you or me or anyone, when it, you know, how it's set up, you know, things about the keyword, things about how it's, you know, bordered or not bordered, or having more than one keyword, things like that, and like whether or not that's something that works for us. And we'll take it piece by piece, like the anatomy of an Oracle deck. But for this month, oh, this was my card, one of my cards. This setup, the title, and then the sometimes it has the like a keyword, and sometimes it has a phrase, like this one. I don't know why this normally isn't like something that speaks to me, but it did resonate for whatever reason this month. And maybe it was this pairing, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just like my approach to these cards this time around. Like I've become a little bit more open to Oracle in a different way. Look at that unfoldment and the Five of Cups. Sorry about the upside down stuff. I used this Oracle by itself. I definitely use this tarot by itself too, for some readings for friends. That's gorgeous. I don't know why I didn't like or didn't bond with the Tarot of the Abyss before. That's why I think you shouldn't be too hasty when you have a deck that you don't immediately bond with. Give it some time. You know, that's why purgatory drawers or whatever boxes I think are a good thing, is that you might just not have needed it at that time in your life, and then you bring it back out, and for whatever reason it just works, it just sings, it just, you know, it just feels right and speaks to you. And that's what happened certainly with this Tarot of the Abyss. You know, I've only been working, you know, with Oracle and Tarot for a couple of years now, and so I can tell you in my limited experience that that's what has happened. I haven't really parted with very many decks that I have purchased, but this is one of the ones that I thought that I would, and I'm really glad that I didn't. So yeah, that's just like a little PSA. Like, don't be too hasty, you know, in purging a lot of stuff. You know, I think maybe just put it, if it's overwhelming or whatever, just like put it away somewhere where you don't have to see it. But you know, if that's like because that I know can bother a lot of people, to just like see like the clutter out in their space. And that I'm speaking from experience, because that's how I am. If things aren't organized, you know, and they're just like out and cluttered, gives me anxiety. So if that's something that's like a thing for you, look at that. That's awesome. If that's something that's like a thing for you as well, like that's what, you know, I think, that's so gorgeous together. I think maybe like putting it away in a space where you don't see it for a little while, but that you know it exists, can help, you know, those feelings of anxiety. And not just with, you know, Tarot and Oracle, but like other things that you might have piling up, like books or whatever, if you don't have a lot of space. But I would say with these, you know, with these decks, it's worth it to me. It's valuable to give them a chance. And I'm not saying that you have to give everything a chance. Like if you're ready to give some, you know, if you feel like that's just what I want to do, I want to, you know, move this deck on, then, you know, of course, like it's your prerogative. But I feel like in my experience, just, oh, look at how amazing that looks together. Sorry. In my experience, I really just feel like not being hasty has given rise to experiences with decks that I might have otherwise have let go, that I find valuable. God, I love this Magician card so much from this deck. So, you know, of course you do your thing, but I've gone through this whole pile. Wow, that's a good one too. So yeah, so we had a little PSA with the Earth Magic Oracle cards and the Tarot of the Abyss. Tarot of the Abyss? Tarot of the Abyss. All right, so lastly we have two decks that I literally just showed off in one of my latest videos because they're new to my collection this month, and I love them so much. I really enjoyed working with these decks. I haven't shown you what they look like next to each other, so that'll be fun. So this is the Anima Mundi Tarot and the Wild Child Oracle cards. So both of these are indie decks, and like I said, as always, I will leave you links to the decks where you can find them down below. I don't know what possessed me, other than the fact that I just wanted to work with these two decks. Hang on, let's get them reasonably, like the height of them reasonable. So I guess it really was more just about the fact that I wanted to work with these two decks, that they ended up being paired together. And what a beautiful choice. What a beautiful happy accident, I guess, or whatever you want to say. I'm honestly, like, this is one of the most wonderful decks to shuffle. It just like gives me all the tingly, you know, ASMR feelings when I shuffle it. And that's just, you know, the physical tactile experience of it. It's also a really great, earthy, brought me down to the ground. So did this one. Brought me here, brought me home, to myself. Really tapped into that like overall sort of theme, that I had, going on across the entire month of, like, yeah, thinking about what really matters to me, thinking about how, what I tell myself about myself and what's really true, and what's negative self-talk, and kind of parsing through my feelings. This deck is just gorgeous for that. And then this one, the artwork is stunning, but the keywords are really amazing too. And this deck inspired, look at that. This deck, the Wild Child Oracle, inspired a poem. The tree poem I was talking about. Hopefully I'll get to that card and show you why. So, oh yeah, that was a good one. I use these both for readings for a friend as well. I've really been enjoying reading I say with, because I like to do readings, tarot for two readings for myself and a friend. But I like reading for other people this month. Look at that, Flow and the Chariot. Crossroads and the Ace of Pentacles. This is Rory's favorite, the Inner Garden. Or one of Rory's favorites, I should say. Because that Echo card with the bunny on it is another one. Decay. Oh my gosh, look at that. Slumber. I know I just showed you this deck, but I just, like, oh, this has also got that, like, rose petal, but it's not too sticky. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. This is my card. The Tree Remembers. So I wrote a poem called What's the Tree Remember? And yeah, I can hear the squirrel noises outside my window, and I'm looking at trees like right outside my window, these beautiful trees. Yeah, maybe I'll take some tree footage and show and read my poem to you guys. But I don't know if you can hear the little squirrel sounds. They sound so mad. But anyway, this, yeah, this image is very stuck in my mind for some time. And I love the Cosmic Child one too. That's the cover art. Oh, I just got this one recently too. So this card, this shelter card, this week, so poignant. So poignant. I can't, yeah, I really loved what happened with these two decks this month, the Wild Child Oracle cards and the Anima Mundi. So funny, like ironic, because a lot of the work that we were doing was this like cosmic stuff. Like there was just a lot of cosmic themes in there. And I got so earth focused and so grounded and centered more than I normally ever do this past week, or this past month, I should say, with that particular practice. So yeah, I just like can't believe it. So yeah, so the Anima Mundi Tarot and the Wild Child Oracle cards. All right, folks, so there you have it. That is my month gone by of February 2023. I really appreciate you being here if you stuck with me through this whole long video. I love these videos and I love long form. So I hope that you like my version of that as well. And yeah, I thank you for sticking with me. And I hope that you all have a beautiful, wonderful day.